I fell on that emotional Richter scale, and I knew this at a really young age. I knew this when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was like a third grader. And at the time I was living in this little town of Ashland, Oregon. It's near the California border, and it's this quaint little theater town. But if you happen to be growing up in Ashland in the late 60s, early 70s, this is before cable had reached us and there were no satellite dishes. So if you lived in this little mountainous valley, we only had one television channel. And so I watched this movie as a kid that really informed the kind of storyteller I would become. And it was this typical ABC movie of the week called James at 15. Does anyone remember this movie? It was, James at 15 was a critically acclaimed movie that became a critically acclaimed series called James at 16, because it got a year older. But it was immediately knocked off the air in the 70s by, the Dukes of Hazzard or whatever the #1 shows of the 70s were. But James at 15 was set in Oregon, where I was living. And the main character was named James, which is my given name. And it was this very simple love story. And it was this boy pining away for this impossible girl. And he gets the girl in the end in this wonderfully benign 70s kind of way. It's not the Jersey Shore, it's not the Real Housewives of Provo. It was this very simple love story. But James at 15 didn't end there, it didn't end on that note. It ended with this scene with James and his family packing up and moving to Boston. And so it has this scene that I remember so clearly where they have the U-Haul packed and he's in the back of the all-American wood panel station wagon that we all used to drive, and he's in the back and he's waving goodbye to his sweetheart who's on the corner waving goodbye. And they just drive on down the road. And there was this very sad, melancholic piano music, and the credits just started to roll. And that was the end. And I remember watching this as a little kid and just thinking, oh, love sucks. This is horrible. I was so vested in these characters. This was the most complicated interpersonal human relationship I had ever seen outside of Disney at that age. And there's nothing wrong with the Nutty Professor, but that's about as deep as I had gone. And I was so caught up into these characters. I was so obsessed with the story that when I didn't get the outcome I was expecting, I was overcome to the point of real tears. Not even the kind of like, it's my allergies, I'm just crying. And my dad is sitting next to me in his easy chair, and I'm a dad, and there's some gentlemen in the room. I know there's dads in the room, and I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets here, but every dad has what I call the dad list. Every dad has some form of the dad list. And I picture my dad just regarding his young son, just bawling at this cheesy movie of the week, and just taking out his imaginary dad list and just thinking, football scholarship, no. Basketball, no. So I always say that I scored a writer's touchdown, and my